Now we're talking about who is helping who. So that's something that I've been learning as I'm learning the language. So I've been diving really deep into the language, and that's something that's a little bit different about how I teach the language. I teach people how the language works. And I find it a really effective way of teaching. And I also really focus on pronunciation, getting the sounds down, because the Haisla language has a lot of unique sounds that don't occur in English. So it can be a little difficult to master those sounds if you're not used to them, or even hearing the sounds if you're not used to hearing them. When I'm teaching the language, I really start with the sounds and get people used to that, both a little bit at a time as we go along. So that was what I want to start. Documents up just before I started. So you should have received a small book. I apologize if it wasn't enough for everybody. I didn't know how many people were here. I made all of this myself, my own 2 hands, so there was only so many that I could make. So I made 100 of them, hoping that enough. I will make more if anybody wants more at a later time. I'm also going to upload on the website so you can access it there later on if you like to. So this is the English to Haisla mini dictionary. So this comes from something called Reason's Haisla Kala. And an exercise that was developed by 1995. So it has 10 lessons. It has vocabulary and some other exercises. And the last lesson is the 10th lesson. And it's actually a recording of Ella Grant talking about local fishing. So she speaks in Haisla first, and then she kind of translates it into English afterwards. So there's 10 lessons in that language practice, something that I discovered when I was working in the archives for HNC. I actually started off working in the archives and did that a couple of years, and now I'm working exclusively with the language I'm not really involved with. I found language packages that were put together by different linguists and also other community members here. So what I did was I digitized all of those and uploaded them to the Haisla Kala website. And in that is the end of it. So that's what we're seeing at the end of it. So that's what we're seeing here in the little booklet that was handed up. So what I did was I edited this and put it into what's called a Haisla hieroglyphy, which is the standard writing system that's being used for writing the Haisla language. So I'm going to take you through the mini dictionary here. So I included some helpful information at the beginning. So some notes on the text. All the words here come from an exercise book that was created by Evan Bach. There are over 500 words included here, which is not, so there's a lot that you won't find here. The values of all the words used in the exercise book. Also, everything has been converted to the Haisla hieroglyphy system that is being used now. It's a standard spelling system, and it is consistent, and it's very valuable because it accurately reflects the sound of the Haisla language. Now, ideally, any dictionary would have Haisla words first. When I use Haisla dictionaries, that's what I tend to use, ones that list Haisla words first. However, in the interest of accessibility, this dictionary is presented with the English words first, to make it a little bit easier for people who might not be familiar. Once you get a handle on reading Haisla Kala, then reading Haisla Kala to English dictionaries will be more efficient for you. And I included some explanations of how the dictionary is presented. And the reason I did that was because one thing that I realized is that we had a lot of dictionaries approved for us, for communities that worked in our community with our language. But nobody's actually taught us how to read them. So, big areas of focus is teaching people languages, teaching them how it works, and also how to read. And everything is written in this hybrid orthography that's been built. So, one of the things here is that some entries are followed by brackets that have the letter PL in them. That stands for plural. So there's some words that are singular forms, there's others that are plural forms. So if you see a PL in brackets, that just means it's a plural form of that word. You also might come across a couple of letters, one or two letters, also in brackets, behind a hyphen. So what this means is that one of the things that's very unique about the Haisla language is that there's a lot of words that end with voiceless sound. So in the dictionaries, they might appear as voiced sounds, but what I've done is I've actually changed that to the voiceless sound, and I put the original sound in brackets. So the example that I have here is in the dictionary, but any dictionary that's been developed by a linguist, it would actually be you see a K with a small raised W at the end of it. I write it with an X. That's the voiceless sound when moving. So that's basically what that means. If you see a couple of letters behind a dash in brackets, it just means a different ending in any of the dictionaries that you might look it up in. It's just a linguistic practice that the linguists would carry out. Like a letter or two in square brackets. So what this means is that suffix. I'll talk a little bit about this. So you can see in the middle of the screen here, you have a dash, you have square brackets, an X, and a gu'aḻa. So this is a suffix, and how you add it to the end of the word depends on how the word ends. So if you were to say gu'aḻa, that means to see a little bit. What we would do is we would add that X before the gu'aḻa. And the reason we do that is because gu'aḻa ends with a vowel. So if there's a vowel at the end of the word, and you're adding gu'aḻa, you have to add X first. So let's see a little bit. There's also a lot of entries in script that are so it might cause a little bit of confusion. So for example, you might find on page 1, there's a G and an E followed by a hyphen. Hyphen indicates that something needs to be added to it. In this case, the GE means and, but it needs the way you do this is by adding the suffix to GE. Here, if you add N, it becomes gin. Gin, and that means and it becomes gis, and you. If you take away the E and add an I, it becomes gi, and that means and it or they. So changing the ending of the word changes the overall meaning, and that's the way words are built in Haisla. So it's very different than how English works. So I just wanted to go to give you a little bit of an idea. So we don't really have a lot of time here, so I thought I'd at least do a quick introduction. So now you have an idea of what goes into actually writing a dictionary and reading it. So you see words, I can just words at random, like this first word on the right-hand side at the top, redwood box. The way that it's written is you have a K with an apostrophe on the top. That means it's K. So it makes a sound. The AU sounds like O, like the word O, which is father. So that first syllable is O. And then there's a Z. So the Z acts very differently in Isla than it does in English. It actually makes like a DZ sound, like the English word ads. Ads. So it sounds like Z. I tends to sound like E. It's something that takes some getting used to. More often than not, it sounds like E. And then there's a symbol word that you might not have seen before. It's basically lowercase f with the squiggly line through it. That's what's called a tilde L, and it sounds like. So if you put those together, you get So that is our word for a banquet box. So as I mentioned, there's quite a few words in here. They all appear in the exercise book that I mentioned. So that helps you a little bit and to think about when you're using this. I also passed around the flyer. I talked a little bit about the Isla calendar. So you can rectangle there, that's the address for the website. This is the official home of the Isla language. It's actually the 5th anniversary on September 26, 2018. So it just turned 5 years old. The motivating factor behind me starting the website was to have all of the resources that I've collected and ones that I've created in one place. So in the course of the span of 5 years, I've commissioned 2 of it. So aside from all the videos that I've been recording, I'm not sure how many I've made. I'd say probably about 80 over the past year and a half. Got all of that, where I've explained different aspects of the language. Those available on to the Isla website. So they're there for anyone who wants to learn more about the language. So there are various materials that I have created. For example, there's the Isla calendar. So what I did has names of all the days of the week in Isla, all the days of the month, or the months, the names of the month. And those are available on the Isla site as a PDF file. So you go there, you can look at it, you can download it, you can print it if you want to. So if you want to keep track of your appointments, that's all the highest days of the week, days of the week on it. I have other things like introducing yourself, how you can do that. You can follow along on counting. So I have numbers from 1 to 100 listed on the website. So you go there, and I also have a section dedicated to commonly used words and phrases in Isla. Now, to be totally honest, I started doing that and then left it. It's incomplete, but there's some things on there that are useful, such as greetings, and things like that. So there are things on there that you can take a look at and use. So I mentioned earlier in my presentation, there's one called a first course in Isla that was taught by, narrated by Nelson Grant. Actually, that one, that's the second one. That's the one that was developed by Jay Powell and Wendy and Nelson. The one before that is the first course in Isla that was developed by Honey. He was the first linguist that worked with our language. So that is there. And also, recently Isla, the exercise book that the series is taken from. So all of those language packages are there. I revised digital copies of the words, so I painted mistakenly retyped everything. I converted everything to the newer writing system. So everything is there. So the word lists are there as PDF files, so you can look at them on the website or you can download them, print them. There are also songs. So basically there's a web page that has all of the language packages listed. There's a SoundCloud playlist with all the audio. There's PDF versions of each language package underneath. So those are all there for you to use. There's also a section that I call News, which is actually a blog. And this is where I provide updates on recent and upcoming events, share new discoveries that I've made as I'm studying the language, resources that I've created, and other things like that. And then going back a little bit on the right-hand side of the page. So there's a section called Haganam's Isla, and it means songs of the Isla language. So this is basically an album of songs that I wrote using the Isla language. So they're in two formats. There's video of me playing songs and singing, and also audio. So if you don't want to watch the video, the audio is there as well. And those are included as a YouTube playlist and also as a SoundCloud playlist as well. And one thing about that is going to listen to this album, listen to the whole thing, because as a channel and also the SoundCloud account, it tells me how many times things have been played. So the first couple of songs, there's a lot of views and plays, and then kind of stuff like that. So what I would like for people to do is, if you want to listen to that album, listen to the whole thing. I worked really hard on all of those songs. There's about 12 songs altogether. They're very short, the same length. So not much of your time will be spent listening to these songs. But it's something that I'm really proud of. I put a lot of work into it, not just writing the songs, but also recording them, editing them. I put together a songbook for the audio version of it. It has all the lyrics on it. That was all a lot of work. So I'm hoping that people will enjoy that and check it out at some point. So that is there. So you see there a picture. That's the cover for the album. And you see the drawing that's on the cover there. This is a character that I call Hank. It has a double meaning. So Hank T sounds like T, which is the highest word for Hank. So it's kind of playing on words there by calling him Hank T. Also, Hanky literally means. So it's a double meaning, and he's kind of a mascot for the highest hybrid orthography and the website that I've developed. So pictures on the site quite a bit on the SoundCloud channel, YouTube channel. So those are there for people to view. As was mentioned before, I can't say every Friday because I take some time off once in a while. But if I'm working that Friday, I will do a live stream at 2 p.m. on the islak YouTube channel, so the address is there. You can join in live while I'm doing it, or you can watch the replay if you missed it. And what I do is I'll talk with the language, I'll explain something interesting about the language. And I also have a couple of features that I do every week. One of them is it's called How You Say It, where I take a couple of words and I walk you through accurate pronunciation of those words. That's a feature that I have on the show. I also have a feature that I call Wow, which means the word of the week. So I pick an interesting word and I explain a little bit about it, and that's basically all the things that I enjoy doing with it, and I hope that you're able to join in and watch live. Again, if you're not able to see the live stream happen, you can watch the replay afterwards. And again, the address is on flyer on the screen here as well. So those are the basic things that I want to share with you. I'm just going to check on my setup here. And I just wanted to show you what's on the screen here. So I mentioned Hank T. This is actually the thumbnail for the YouTube live streams that I do on each live stream after it goes up. And it's just a way of kind of getting attention for the YouTube live streams so that people will, if people are interested, they can join in and watch. So what I do here today, everything I wanted to talk about.